Chosen one, an invisible hand far mightier than chance and far wiser than your own searching, has led you straight to this place at this precise moment. Heaven itself orchestrated every click, every scroll, every distraction that fell away until this message stood alone before your eyes, appointed for a purpose that will echo beyond tonight. Listen with the full weight of your spirit. These words will not linger. They are here for one brief hour, then they dissolve forever. That narrow window alone testifies how urgent this crossroads truly is. You did not find this by accident. You were sovereignly summoned. Divine fingers adjusted every detail of your day to position you here, because something buried in your spirit is crying out to be stirred, challenged, and set back into perfect alignment. This is not a feel-good post. This is not gentle encouragement. This is not optional advice. This is a blast of a heavenly trumpet cutting through the noise. This is God's third and final alarm. When heaven speaks the third time, the matter has reached the brink of no return. In Scripture, 3 is a number of divine completion, of irrevocable establishment, of sealed outcomes. Jesus agonized 3 times in the garden before the greatest victory in history was set in motion. Jonah heard the third call before he finally walked into Nineveh's revival. Peter denied 3 times before the rooster and the tears and the restoration that launched the church. A third voice from above is never casual. It means the edge of the cliff is beneath your feet right now. Something vital is teetering. Something precious is exposed to irreversible harm. Something God has patiently cultivated inside you is in danger of being derailed forever. You already know exactly what it is. Even if your lips have stayed silent, your spirit has been shouting. That knot in your stomach, that sudden heat in your chest, that whisper you keep pushing down. None of it is coincidence. God has already spoken clearly about a habit that must die, a relationship that must end, a mindset that must shift, a cycle that must break, a door that should have been locked long ago, or a path you were supposed to take but kept delaying. You heard him the first time and negotiated. You heard him the second time and postponed. Life got loud. Comfort felt easier. Fear sounded convincing. And the familiar wrapped its arms around you tighter than obedience ever did. Now heaven is breaking into your feed, your schedule, your numbness, because eternity is at stake. This warning will shape the next 10, 20, 50 years of your life. This warning decides whether you cross over into destiny or remain stuck in a wilderness of your own making. This warning determines whether your calling explodes forward or gets choked by battles you were never meant to fight. Right now, heaven is drawing a sharp line in the dust and declaring, "My child, no more." The first warning was pure mercy. The second was overflowing grace. This third one is holy interruption, divine rescue. God is saying, "Look at me. The next step is yours alone, not your past, not the enemy's, not tomorrow's excuses, yours." And please hear this clearly. God is not trying to scare you. He is shielding you from wasting years that cannot be reclaimed, shielding you from traps wearing the mask of peace, shielding you from cracks you left open that the enemy has already marked, shielding you from sabotaging the breathtaking future he drew up before you took your first breath. Chosen one, the Spirit of the living God is hovering over you in this very second, pressing, pleading, awakening. Proverbs 4:26 declares, "Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established." God is thundering into your spirit right now. The trail you pick in these next hours will harden into the very foundation of every year that follows. This is not a minor crossroads. This is not a casual whisper. Heaven never repeats itself 3 times unless the entire destiny of a chosen life hangs in the balance. Before the next wave of revelation crashes in, do something that marks this moment in the spirit realm. Hit the like button as a visible yes, Lord, to heaven's command. Subscribe so the next word from God cannot be stolen from you. Drop your nation in the comments. Let the remnant across the earth see they are not alone, and let the map of awakening light up. And to every sower releasing seed to the pinned link, Cash App, or Super Thanks tonight, you are not merely donating. You are locking arms with a move of God that is shaking continents. Your seed is prophetic warfare. Your seed is covenant alignment. Your seed is shouting in realms your mouth will never enter and standing guard where your feet cannot yet walk. Stay right here. Do not scroll. Do not minimize. Do not let the enemy steal one more second of this encounter. Heaven is peeling back the veil. This third warning is heavier than the first two because it is a final trumpet before irreversible shift. Why did God refuse to let you miss this? Why is your spirit trembling like it is standing on holy ground? Because everything, absolutely everything, now pivots on your response. Chosen one, you are planted at a spiritual fork where one heartbeat hesitation can birth a decade of detour, yet one whisper of yes, Lord, can catapult you into sudden, violent acceleration. Heaven sees what your natural eyes are blind to right now. Heaven sees the silent snares being laid. Heaven sees old graves trying to open again. Heaven sees the enemy circling back to the very cracks you swore were sealed forever. Heaven also sees the door that is creaking open, the mantle that is descending, the path that is glowing brighter with every second you linger in obedience. You feel weary. You feel stretched thin. You feel like you have been circling the same mountain forever. But listen closely. You are not stuck. You are being perfectly positioned. You are being pulled to the edge of the greatest decision of your life thus far. God is roaring over you. Child, what you choose in this narrow window will write the headline of your next season. This is not punishment. This is rescue. This is not terror. This is tender, fierce love waking you up before you step off the cliff. God is dragging your soul toward crystal clarity, toward laser focus, toward radical obedience, toward the elevation you were born for. Two paths are glowing before you in the spirit right now. One path is soft, familiar, predictable. The same cycles, same compromises, same toxic ties, same excuses dressed up as wisdom, same wounds you keep nursing instead of healing. It asks nothing of your faith, nothing of your surrender, only that you remain unchanged. And unchanged is the slow poison that murders destiny. The other path is narrow, blazing, terrifying in its holiness. It demands courage that makes your knees shake. It demands obedience that costs you every comfort. It drags you out of the shallow end and hurls you straight into the deep where your calling lives. This is a path of explosive growth, iron discipline, unshakable identity, violent breakthrough, and the full weight of the destiny you were conceived to carry. Isaiah 30 verse 21 is breathing over you right now. Thine ears shall hear a voice behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. That voice is louder than it has ever been. God is steering you away from every dead end and straight into divine alignment. But hear this clearly. God cannot steer a parked car. He cannot multiply what you clutch. He cannot promote a version of you that was only meant to survive the last season. The longer you straddle the fence, the fainter your purpose grows and the louder chaos screams. That is why the third warning is blasting like a war horn to shatter paralysis before it calcifies. The spirit realm is moving at warp speed right now. Ancient doors are swinging. Kingdom alignments are locking into place. Opportunities are turning on their hinges, waiting for one obedient foot to cross the threshold. But destiny does not wait forever at crossroads. Destiny only walks with those who walk with God. Heaven is thundering. Stop freezing at the fork. Step into obedience. Step into purpose. Step onto the narrow road that leads to the life I breathed over you before the foundations of the world. Chosen one, you are far closer to your breakthrough than your feelings are screaming at you to believe. Closer to unshakable clarity. Closer to sudden elevation. Closer to the pivot your entire soul has been groaning for in secret. But closeness means nothing without movement. You must choose the future over the familiar. You must choose the unknown over the graveyard of what used to be. Hear this with every ounce of your spirit. The resistance crushing you right now is not normal. The pressure cooker in your chest is not random. The exhaustion, the surprise attacks, the emotional hurricanes, none of it is coincidence. You are not ordinary, so the fight against you is not ordinary. The enemy does not waste artillery on the irrelevant. He only wages war against the anointed, against what heaven has signed and sealed. Look at the pattern written across Scripture. Before Moses ever held the rod that split the sea, Pharaoh ordered every male child slaughtered. Before Joseph ever wore the coat of authority, his own brothers threw him into a pit. Before David ever carried the crown, he carried a sling against a giant. Before Jesus ever spoke, "It is finished," the wilderness tried to break him with 40 days of hell. Greatness is never handed. It is contested. Every assignment from heaven is assaulted before it is announced. This warfare is not evidence you are losing. It is evidence you are dangerously close. Darkness always screams loudest right before the light breaks. The enemy overloads you right before overflow hits. He distracts hardest right before promotion lands. He resurrects old graves right before you step into new territory. This third warning is heaven shouting, "Do not misread the battle. This is not defeat. This is birth pains." What you have been calling weakness is actually spiritual weight descending. What feels like pressure is purpose expanding in your bones. The enemy is terrified of the version of you that awakens fully obedient, fully aligned, fully awake. He fears your obedience because one obedient step shatters 1,000 chains. He fears your growth because growth burns his lies to ash. He fears your clarity because clarity silences every demonic whisper. He fears your true identity because the real you evicts him from every room he has been squatting in. That is why distractions multiplied. That is why old wounds ripped open again. That is why certain people suddenly crawled out of the past. That is why delays felt heavier than ever. They were not sent to destroy you. They were sent to make you quit 5 seconds before the miracle. But heaven refuses to let you quit. Not here. Not now. Not when victory is this close to your fingertips. Not when the preparation that began in your mother's womb is finally converging into this single moment. Psalm 37 verse 23 is roaring over you. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Every step has already been measured, already anointed, already protected. All that is missing is your footfall. Deep inside, you already know everything I am saying is true. You felt the shift weeks ago. You felt it in the dreams that would not let you sleep. You felt it when certain names stopped feeling like home. You felt it when old rooms started suffocating you. You felt it in that quiet, relentless pull that refused to let you settle for the shallow end anymore. You kept telling yourself you were imagining it. You were not imagining it. That was the Holy Spirit stirring the waters inside you, awakening the giant, calling you out of the cave and onto the throne. This third warning is heaven putting an exclamation point on everything your spirit has been whispering. You cannot stay here. You cannot keep nursing dead things. You cannot keep postponing what I etched on your heart before you drew breath. This is not your imagination. This is divine invasion. Romans 13 verse 11 is blazing across your timeline right now. It is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we first believed. Heaven is shaking you awake because your next level is no longer approaching. It is here. It is standing at the door, knocking with urgency. Hesitation now costs you divine timing. Obedience now catapults you into acceleration. You cannot even imagine. Every time you whispered, "I'll do it later," heaven heard it. Every time you said, "I'm not ready," heaven paused, heart aching, yet still waiting. Every time you whispered, "Maybe tomorrow," heaven stretched out one more measure of grace. But grace is not an endless loop. Grace is a bridge, and every bridge has an end. God has been impossibly patient. He has spoken softly, knocked gently, stirred quietly, waited outside the door of your heart with tear-stained kindness. But right now the clock in the spirit realm is striking a final, prophetic chime. This message is breaking through at this exact second because the season of extended grace has reached its boundary. You have hesitated long enough. You have negotiated with obedience long enough. You have walked circles around the same mountain long enough. You have let confusion shout over the voice of clarity long enough. God is not exposing your delay to shame you. He is exposing it to shatter it. He is confronting your hesitation to liberate you from it forever. 1 Kings 18 verse 21 is thundering over your life right now. How long halt ye between two opinions? Heaven is staring you in the eyes, asking the exact same question. How long will you waver between what God has spoken and what fear keeps rehearsing? How long will you grip the familiar while your destiny is screaming your name from a horizon? How long will you keep postponing the very thing God has been burning in your spirit? Delayed obedience is still disobedience. Delayed surrender is self-inflicted sabotage. Delayed movement is voluntary stagnation. God is not issuing this third warning to punish you. He is issuing it because a window of opportunity is sliding shut. The season is turning like a great wheel in the heavens. The door that has been held open by mercy is beginning to close. You cannot drag last season's baggage into next season's blessing. You cannot march into new territory chained to an old mindset. You cannot receive fresh oil with fists still clenched around dead things. Heaven is declaring over you right now, child, the time is not tomorrow. The time is not when you feel ready. The time is not when every circumstance lines up perfectly. The time is now. You have been crying out for breakthrough, but breakthrough demands alignment. You have been begging for clarity, but clarity demands surrender. You have been pleading for elevation, but elevation demands a discipline to cut away what anchors you to ground. God is trying to pull you forward, mold you in the fire, and plant you exactly where the blessing that has your name on it is waiting. But you cannot step into that new place while one foot is still glued to the old. Chosen one, this is no longer just a warning. This is a shift. This is heaven itself leaning in close and declaring, your future is calling louder than your fears ever could. You have felt the crushing pressure, because pressure always precedes promotion. You have faced the fiercest resistance, because resistance always guards a threshold of transition. Do not misread the warfare as failure. It is the violent sound of birthing. It is proof that your spirit is stretching wider than it ever has. It is evidence that the old wineskin is tearing, so the new wine can be poured. It is confirmation that God is forcibly enlarging you to fit the mantle waiting on the other side. Isaiah 43 verse 19 is exploding over your life right now. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? Heaven is screaming that something brand new, something untamed, something world-shaking is already breaking through the soil of your life. But you cannot clutch the dead branches of yesterday and receive the new harvest at the same time. This is your final alarm before everything shifts. This third warning is the last gentle push before the door begins to swing. Heaven is pressing you to make the one decision that locks you into the future written about you before the foundation of the world. If you move now, every promise attached to your name will slam into acceleration. If you freeze, remember, destiny is brutally sensitive to timing. Purpose refuses to be dragged. Calling demands immediate obedience. Right now, heaven is thundering for words over you. Move, align, step, obey. You are not standing near breakthrough. You are standing on the razor-thin edge of it. The only thing separating you from everything God has spoken is one trembling, obedient step. Chosen one, lean in closer because heaven is about to confirm what your spirit has been screaming in the night. A door, a literal, living, breathing spiritual door, has been set in front of you. This is not symbolism. This is not poetry. This is a divine structure in the realm of the spirit, engraved with your name, your assignment, your unanswered prayers, your coming miracles, your next level identity, your kingdom authority, your sudden elevation. It has been there, waiting since before you drew your first breath. But here is the part that should make your heart race. This door is on a timer. It will not stay cracked open indefinitely. Spiritual doors do not function like earthly opportunities that circle back around. They swing wide when your heart beats in perfect rhythm with heaven's clock, and they begin to close the instant hesitation, doubt, or disobedience throws that rhythm off. The moment Holy Spirit stirred you, convicted you, woke you in the night, that was the creak of the hinges opening. The second you began negotiating, explaining, or looking back, that was the first groan of those hinges slowing. Revelation 3 verse 11 is blazing across your screen right now. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Heaven is whispering with fierce urgency. Hold on. Step through. Run if you have to. Do not let delay rob you of what grace has already paid for. This door is no side entrance. It is the pivot point of your entire existence. It is a divine hinge upon which your whole future turns. Millions pray for open doors, yet most miss them because they refuse to move. They plant their feet at the threshold, paralyzed by fear, tangled in distractions, paralyzed by uncertainty, and the door swings shut while they are still deciding whether to trust. You will not be counted among them. Heaven has gone too far out of its way to let that happen. That is why this exact message crashed into your timeline at this exact second. That is why your chest feels like it is caving in with holy pressure. This is not chaos. This is divine orchestration at its fiercest. This door is not leading to a slightly better version of your past. It is leading to a life that would make the old you weep with disbelief. Behind it is healing for wounds you swore would scar you forever. Behind it is clarity that silences every lie that ever shouted in your mind. Behind it is restoration of things the enemy bragged were gone for good. Behind it is elevation into rooms you once felt too small to enter. Behind it is the full weight of your calling, your true identity, and the spiritual authority you were born to carry. But listen like your life depends on it. Because in the spirit, it does. You cannot drag the old luggage through this doorway. The past cannot cross this threshold. The old mindsets, the old ties, the old comforts turn chains. None of them fit through an opening this holy. Heaven is yanking you forward because the door is wide open right now. Yet heaven also sees the enemy circling, like a vulture the moment new doors crack. Every single time God opens a future, the devil rushes to cloud the view, resurrect dead fears, send decoys dressed like destiny, or replay old movies in your mind. He cannot slam a door God pried open, but he can still try to scare you into never walking through it. He knows the second your foot crosses that line, his lease on your life expires. He knows one obedient step collapses every illegal stronghold. That is why old temptations knocked again. That is why certain names lit up your phone. That is why ancient insecurities roared back to life. That is why familiar sins flirted like they never left. They were never coincidences. They were calculated distractions timed for this exact transition. But heaven is ripping the mask off every trap tonight. Psalm 32 verse 8 is blazing over you. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. God is not leaving you to guess. He is guiding you with laser precision, with night vision clarity, with the very gaze of the Ancient of Days. Chosen one, everything you have ever cried for, peace that stays, healing that lasts, purpose that burns, identity that cannot be shaken, breakthrough that rewrites your bloodline, is standing on the other side of one word: obedience. Obedience is not punishment. Obedience is the master key to every locked dimension of your destiny. Noah obeyed and outlived the storm. Abraham obeyed and fathered nations. Joshua obeyed and walls became dust. Gideon obeyed and armies fled from 300 torches. Mary obeyed and heaven invaded earth through her womb. Obedience is never loss. It is always access. Right now, God is holding out his hand, eyes fierce with love, saying, trust me enough to walk to the door you've been dreaming of your whole life. The real danger is not missing a blessing. The real danger is staying the same person in the same place while the door closes. The real danger is letting fear keep driving while purpose sits in the passenger seat. Heaven is pressing into your spirit with undeniable force. Do not hesitate. Do not negotiate. Do not look back. If you step now, your entire life will pivot in a moment. Every angel assigned to your bloodline is standing at attention. Every promise is in position. Every resource is already released. All that is missing is your yes. This is your door. This is your moment. This is your violent collision with destiny. And heaven will not let you leave this encounter the same. Chosen one, feel the weight of this. God is sounding the third alarm because he has not given up on you. If he were done, silence would have fallen long ago. If heaven had withdrawn, your spirit would feel nothing at all. But the very fact that you are still reading, still trembling, still feeling the pull of eternity on your soul, is proof that God is still chasing you with everlasting love. Jeremiah 31 verse 3 is alive over you right now. Yeah, I have loved thee with an everlasting love. Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. This is that drawing. This is loving kindness in motion. God is dragging you out of distortion and back into design, out of fear and into fire, out of delay and into demonstration, out of cycles and into conquest. This is not the end of the story. This is divine interception, holy ambush, mercy disguised as a warning. God is flat out refusing to let you